The throne room of the Zetharian flagship stretched vast and cold, its walls pulsing with bioluminescent veins that cast an eerie purple glow across the assembled court. Queen Zalvithria sat motionless upon her crystalline seat, her four eyes fixed on the human prisoner brought before her. The creature stood defiant despite its restraints, blood trickling from a wound above its brow. "This one killed 17 of my warriors," the Queen's advisor hissed, his mandibles clicking with barely contained rage. "Before we extract its neural patterns, I thought your Radiance would want to witness its fear." Anna Chen, xenobiologist and tactical officer of the UESN Endeavor, had been studying the Zetharians for 3 years. She stood among the Queen's entourage, her cover as a Krell diplomat still intact. Her heart hammered as she recognized the prisoner's uniform. Human Defense Coalition Special Operations. The nameplate on his torn jacket read, SGT, J. Morrison, Jack. She forced herself to remain still, to keep her breathing steady. The translator implant in her ear converted the Queen's speech into something comprehensible, but Anna didn't need translation to understand the malice in those multifaceted eyes. "Tell me, human," the Queen said, her voice like grinding stones. "What makes your kind so recklessly brave? You are weak. Your weapons are primitive. Your lifespans are mere flickers, yet you fight as though you could challenge the stars themselves." Jack lifted his head, and despite the blood and bruises, he smiled. "You want to know what makes us dangerous? It's not our weapons. It's that we don't know when to quit." The Queen's appendages twitched, a sign of amusement among her kind. "Foolish bravado. You will tell us the location of your fleet, or you will suffer beyond your species' capacity to endure." "I'll tell you something better," Jack said, his voice steady. "I'll tell you why you've already lost this war." Silence fell across the throne room. Even the bioluminescent walls seemed to dim. The Queen leaned forward, intrigued despite herself. "Speak then. Entertain me before you die." Jack's eyes scanned the assembled aliens, and for the briefest moment, his gaze passed over Anna. There was no recognition. Her biosynthetic disguise was too perfect, but she saw something in his expression. A calculation, a plan forming even now in the heart of enemy territory. "Your species has ruled this sector for 10,000 years, Jack began. You've conquered 400 worlds. You've never known defeat because you've never faced an enemy that fights the way we do. You calculate odds. You assess risk. You retreat when the mathematics dictate." "As any rational being should," the Queen interrupted. "That's why you'll lose." Jack's smile widened. "Humans don't fight rationally. We fight for things you can't quantify. Love, honor, the memory of home. We fight for people whose names we'll never know, for futures we'll never see. Your warriors retreat when victory costs too much. Ours charge forward when victory costs everything." The advisor hissed again. "Your Radiance, let me silence this creature's—" "No." The Queen raised one taloned hand. "Continue, human. You interest me." Anna's mind raced. She had 3 plasma charges hidden in her diplomatic robes. The Queen's guards numbered 27. Extraction would be impossible, but if Jack was captured, it meant his mission had succeeded. The Endeavor would be in position. She just needed to buy him time. "There's a soldier," Jack said, his voice dropping to something almost reverent. "A human soldier whose name every species in this sector will learn. Not because of the battles she won, though those stories would make your warriors weep. Not because of the enemies she killed, though their numbers would fill your data archives, but because of what she represents." The Queen tilted her head, all 4 eyes narrowing. "And what is this name?" Anna's breath caught. No, he wouldn't. He couldn't possibly. "Lieutenant Commander Anna Chen," Jack said clearly. "The ghost of the Outer Rim. The woman who infiltrated the Krell homeworld and walked out with their defense protocols. The tactician who held the Betelgeuse colony with 400 civilians against 10,000 Zetharian shock troops for 17 days. The throne room erupted in chittering voices. Anna felt every muscle in her body go rigid. Her cover was about to disintegrate. But Jack wasn't done. "She's the reason your fleet at Proxima was destroyed. She's the reason your supply lines have been crumbling for 6 months. And your Radiance?" Jack's eyes gleamed with something fierce and proud. "She's already here." The Queen went perfectly still. For a long moment, nothing moved in that vast chamber except the pulsing lights along the walls. Then slowly, the Queen's eyes began scanning her court. "Impossible," she whispered. But there was something new in her voice now, something the Zetharian Empire had not felt in 10 millennia. Fear. Anna made her decision in a heartbeat. She dropped her disguise, the biosynthetic skin peeling away as she triggered the neural command. 27 guards turned toward her, weapons raising, but she was already moving. The first plasma charge destroyed the throne room's gravity generator. As aliens and furniture began floating, Anna launched herself toward Jack, her combat knife flashing as she cut his restraints. "You absolute idiot," she hissed, tossing him her backup sidearm. Jack caught it mid-spin, grinning even as they tumbled through zero-gravity chaos. "Told you the dramatic reveal would work. I had a plan." "So did I. Mine was better." They fought back-to-back as the throne room descended into bedlam. Anna's tactical implant was already linked to the Endeavor, waiting in stealth orbit. 30 seconds to beam out. 27 guards between them and survival. The Queen, still frozen on her floating throne, watched as the two humans carved through her elite warriors with a combination of skill, fury, and what could only be described as audacious joy in the face of impossible odds. When the transporter finally locked on and the world dissolved into light, the last thing Anna heard was the Queen's voice. Barely a whisper. Humans. 3 days later, the Zetharian Empire initiated peace talks. The war that was supposed to last generations ended in negotiations. The Queen had learned what every species who faced humanity eventually discovered. Some enemies are too stubborn, too brave, and too gloriously insane to defeat. In the officer's lounge of the Endeavor, Jack raised his glass to Anna. To terrible plans that somehow work. Anna clinked her glass against his, shaking her head but smiling. To the humans who don't know when to quit. May we never learn. Outside the viewport, the stars burned bright with the promise of humanity's future among them, earned not through conquest, but through the unbreakable spirit of those willing to stand against the dark. The galaxy would remember their names. And